Now, this discussion we want to have this morning is not the average type of discussion that we give a content creator like me views, right? Because maybe what people they like to see trendy quarrel. But this matter we want to discuss this morning is very important to the future of Nigeria and Africa. If you have noticed this Japa syndrome when everybody they talk about recently, to them that they escape Nigeria, they are escaping to a better society. But what it does to Nigeria is that our best doctors are leaving, our best bankers are leaving, our best tech guys are leaving. That's why you see all these banks getting app issues because the best tech guys are gone. Then we are having something they call the Halifax International Security Summit in Canada. It is a summit they do every year. They bring in international government, military officials, education experts, entrepreneurs, smart brains. They bring them together to this international security forum. JJ Omojuwa was on this one. And they were talking about the importance of doctors coming into these foreign countries and helping their health care, right? And JJ Omojuwa raised an observation. He said, as you are celebrating these doctors coming from abroad and helping your health care, do you know that you are draining the health care of the poor countries so they don't have good doctors anymore because the best doctors are not coming here? Why not we do it in a way where everybody will win? Because what you are doing now is called ripping off the poor countries. Let me show you this video. I'm coming back.
Senator, I'm going to quote two sentences you made. You said the economy needs the immigrant transfusion. You also said the healthcare system will collapse without foreign-born workers.
Yes.
So before I came to Halifax, I went to visit my father-in-law in Lagos. He was ill, and my wife wasn't happy with the treatment he was getting elsewhere. So she brought him to Lagos. And when I met him, he said it was like a magic, right? Because the doctor looked at him, looked at all the drugs he was taking, and advised him, and the change has been actually magical, almost like a miracle. I was really happy for him and his story, but on my way home, I couldn't get the fact that that doctor was going to be on his way out of Nigeria anytime soon. My name is JJ Omojuwa. I'm from Nigeria. I'm also on the board of Halifax, just to give perspective. I was really scared of that, and I quoted you because the other side of those sentences is the poor countries that are often on the receiving end of that economy in these rich countries, that healthcare system in these rich countries not collapsing. And the interesting thing is, when we have these conversations, we hardly have them from the POV, from the point of view of those poor countries.
Of course.
And I do believe that when we have these conversations from the point of view of those poor countries and the effects of migration, of immigration on these countries, I believe we'll get closer to the solution, because we get closer to the root causes than the effects that we're generally discussing. Because whatever we're discussing with respect to how it affects immigration in places like the United States, those are the causes. The roots of the matter are actually from the countries that are also losing.
Great point.
From the gains that you just mentioned. So how do we address these issues from the POV of poor countries? Because only then do I believe that we'll arrive at a more robust
Can I restate that just to make sure I understand?
Yes.
I think I get this.
Okay.
If I'm saying 26% of American physicians are foreign-born.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, thank God these foreign-born physicians are doing such a great job. But you're raising the point, but why aren't they practicing in the countries where they were born? What is it about systems there that lead them to decide I'm going to practice in rural Virginia rather than Nigeria, another place? And so something that has been a positive for us ends up being a brain drain or a negative for other countries. Is that, do I basically?
Yes, that's what you said.
So that's a great question. It's a great question. And if you dug deeper into that 26%, the reason that 26% is in the United States, there's probably 1,000 reasons. You know, I came to school, or I married someone and moved here, or I had family who lived here. But in many, it would be there were no opportunities, or I had better opportunities here. And then you end up with a public health system in so many nations that doesn't have the providers that it needs. One of the things that I think we need to do is we think about humanitarian assistance in the medical field. Just using that as an example, is rather than investing, purely in like sort of, NGOs that are going in to do good, we have to invest in building up the public health infrastructure of nations that don't have sufficient healthcare providers. And so the humanitarian assistance is important, but you got to do it the right way, not the wrong way. We used to do food assistance by just sending food. You actually do a better job if the food assistance is heavily about cultivating local agriculture. And I think probably there's a similar strategy that we have to pursue as we think about public health systems in developing nations. Thanks for asking that.
In the case of Iran, if I may, the brain drain occurred.
Okay. Now, let me break it down in case you don't understand. JJ Omojuwa is saying, as you are celebrating the entrance of foreign doctors doing well in your land and helping your healthcare system, you are brain draining. You take away the best brain from poorer countries like Nigeria and all those other countries where these guys would have been working and helping people there. Now you are taking them to your country. So what is left in those countries are the shafts, the people that are upcoming, that are not very good, and they'll use those people for the poor country to learn. Immediately they are getting good, you move them. And what the white man is trying to say, what the senator is trying to say is that, so what we're trying to do for these poor countries now is that we want to help them build their healthcare sector so that these people does not need to Japa. The reason why these people are Japa is because they don't have proper opportunities there. Now the both of them are correct. The both of them are very correct. They are brain draining us, because I've said it that very soon. The people who will remain for Nigeria will be Agbiru and armed robbers and thieves, because our best hands are living. Even comedians are supposed to come out, because Canada has a window for talent people to come. So while they are celebrating, we are crying, and they are not just doing it for our brain; they did it for our oil. Almost everything in Europe will collapse if you remove African resources from them. So what is keeping Europe standing is the ability to drain Africa from our resources. But then instead of us blaming Europe for draining Africa of our resources, let us look for why Africa could not hold their resources. I want to look at it from the 2 points of view now, like JJ Omojuwa said. So I've seen it from the point of view of African being brain drained. What about the point of view of why Africa cannot manage their resources? Because the Bible said in Jesus Christ's parable that the servants were all given talents when the Lord was living. But the one who not manage the talents well, when the Lord come back, he collect that talent from and give who gets a big user. Africa is the richest continent in the world. How come we are the poorest? Because we are not managing our resources well. And by the laws of nature, the resources will leave you and go to who sabi user. Most of the people you see in foreign lands today that are doing well and they are Africans, their talents would have ended if they stayed in Nigeria. If you look at the Super Eagles of Nigeria, half of the players were not born here. They are Nigerians, but they are not born here. All the William Strokes, the Calvin Bassey, they are born here. But if they were born here, I can assure you, some for the wheelbarrow pushers, some for the sell for traffic. Because Africa is talented in destroying talent. So instead of us blaming the white man for brain draining us, let us blame ourselves for not handling this talent well. And anybody who sees you destroying something that they need, they will help you. If you don't have a plan for your life, people will create a plan for you. They will help you collect it, either by crook or anyhow. So can we focus on tasking our government to manage the talents here? JJ Omojuwa was one of those people who moved and supported Bola Ahmed Tinubu to become president. Why not focus on telling him to manage the talents well here? Because during his administration now, we are having more Japa. And more people want to Japa than Buhari's administration. Let us call a spade a spade.